Hey everybody, it's Angela and I am back with another layout video. And for this one, I'm going to use this Recollections Festivities paper pad. It's one I hadn't cut into before, but the reason I chose it was because it had a little bit of orange, which is kind of unusual for a winter Christmas type of collection. And you'll see the reason I chose that was because there's orange in one of my photos, and it's also whimsical. And this is going to be a layout for my dog album, and this was his first snow, so he wound up just really loving it and playing in it. And this layout, this one's for Sarah. You wanted to see some snow photos, so I'm sending them your way. And this is an overall picture I took, and the printer put a stripe down it, so I'm just going to cut that off because it's just an office laser printer. And that's going to be kind of my background photo, just showing how much snow we got in the countryside. And you can see our shop and our house way off in the distance there. And then I'll have some closer up photos of the dog. And I'm just pulling out some of these border strips that have the orange in it, because like I said, I have orange in my photo. So I'm going with kind of the orange and the blue, and then I do wind up putting a few pops of this green in there because there's also green in the photograph as well. And then I'm using this light grid paper for my background. So I think about putting it on the diagonal, but I go with this kind of layout. And I have this one. This is the one that has the orange in it. It's the snowman, and we dressed him up in safety gear. It's actually our CERT training, our Citizens Emergency Response Training gear that we put on. And my husband and I took some CERT courses a long time ago, and it just helps you how to handle an emergency if there's an earthquake or flooding or wildfires, things like that, and how to help yourself and those around you. And when you graduate from the course, they give you a safety vest and a hard hat. So we dressed the snowman up in that, and so it had the orange and the green, and so that's partly why I chose the collection. It just worked out perfectly. And we wound up getting about 15 to 18 inches of snow after everything was said and done. And again, it took out the tree branches, took out our power lines down the whole valley. So we were without power, which means our well pump won't work, so we were without water too. So we had to use buckets of creek water to flush the toilets, and we have wood fireplace and heat. So it wasn't like it was an emergency or anything like that. We totally have all the gear to deal with living out in the country, but it's just an inconvenience because when you get a day off, you want to spend it like watching YouTube videos and texting and doing social media or watching a movie or things like that, and you can't. So so we just went outside and built snowmans and played with the dog and made the best of a situation. And so I decided to map my photos in the different colors. So I'm choosing this kind of hard hat green for that one. And then the only orange really in here are just hints of orange. So all there was that border strip. So I do wind up putting that kind of upper left photo with piecing an orange border strip around it to give it a matte. And that upper left hand one, you can just see in the upper left there, is the dog trying to play with his boomer ball in the snow, and he had a hard time getting it to roll in the snow, and he was somewhat frustrated, but then he kind of figured out how to do it. And so it was still game on as far as the boomer ball was concerned. And then this bottom right hand photo, I go ahead and matte with the black in the collection, and that is just all the snowballs that built up in his fur. He had like snowball dreadlocks. And then this photo here is just one of my husband kind of burying the dog in some snow, and the dog was eating it and jumping around in it and just having such a great time. He was a little apprehensive to walk in it at first. We had to kind of coax him out and let him, you know, lick it and eat it and everything. But then when he found out it wasn't going to hurt him, yeah, he just had a great time. So I put several of the photos on the bottom right, and then just making a smaller cluster with this one photo on the upper left. And I'm putting all my word fragments up on some dimensional foam just to give a little bit of texture and lift. And then I used a generic snowflake die out of my cutting dies to make a bunch of snowflakes. And then I found some of these kind of matte metallic brads in the green, orange, and blue colors to put my snowflakes down. And the layout is overall a little bit stark, but you know what? I like that because it was pretty stark out there with all the white and the fields just being covered and all the trees being covered. And so I just went ahead and left it a little stark. And so I'm doing some journaling. I did some down there with my cluster, and then I'll do just a little bit of journaling. I had to look up the actual date that this was, and I'm going to put that up at the top. And I'm just kind of letting those word fragments, the snow day, kind of be my title for this layout. I'm not going to use a big title. And so here are the close-ups. Here he is trying to play with his boomer ball, a huge snowball dreadlock on his paw there. Poor guy. He tried to eat them out and pull them out himself. And then there is just some scenery. You can see our house, our shop way off in the distance there. There's our snowman with all his CERT gear on. Snowball dreadlocks. There's a few of the smaller snowballs that were left. And I really enjoyed using this collection. It was fun to be able to cut into this, use a whimsical collection in my stash, and make another layout for the dog album. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or anything, just leave them down below. If you have any requests like Sarah did to do some snow layouts, leave them down below and I'll try to oblige. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.